Back again. You can see I'm in a hotel room. I'm in this little cross-country trip. I'm in a city called Boise in Idaho, United States. So bear with me. This is not the studio, but I had to just make this video quickly. Amorim was sacked this morning, and we also know that a few days ago, Enzo Maresca was sacked as well in though different clubs, but almost similar circumstances. And we just had to make sense of this one. Don't forget to subscribe if you have not done so. Please hit the like button and share this video. And again, also, because this is my perspective, I really want you to get on the comment section and let me know what you think about this. Secondly, for you to really enjoy this video and understand what I'm trying to say, you need to stay with me for a few minutes as I give you a background to my conclusion on why this situation has arisen. So please stay with me and let me give you a little background. I'm going to talk about Arsenal and Liverpool in days, then I come to Chelsea and Manchester United. You remember later years of Arsene Wenger, where Arsenal was. He left, they brought in Lumberg as interim manager, then hired Unai Emery, who did very well in the beginning, and eventually he also got fired, and Arteta was hired as a head coach for Arsenal as well. I'm also going to take you back to Liverpool, who also, for so many years, we are struggling to win the EPL, though they won a few Champions League here and there, and they had this mad transfer culture of signing 6, 7, 5 players every summer, and they couldn't just get it right. Then they hired Jurgen Klopp, who came in, and if you remember, for the first 3 years or 4 years of his reign in Liverpool, he kind of Liverpool did not really do anything in the transfer window. I remember Liverpool fans then crying and shouting and trying to go even on a protest against the owners that they were not backing Klopp. And then I think on the 4th year they signed a few players, made some good signings, won their first trophy, Carling Cup, I think, and from there we know the rest became history. Bring it back to Arsenal. Arsenal signed Mikel Arteta. If you also remember, he said that he was going to handle the situation in phases, and he gave us 5 phases. 3 years ago, when Arsenal, in the first time we entered 2 days under Arteta, Arteta said that they were ahead of the process. And this is where trust the process became popular in the fan base of football. One thing I remember that happened was that Arsenal also signed Mikel Arteta as a head coach. But after 1 year, they quickly promoted him to a manager. And I'm going to tell you why this is important. If you go to Liverpool as well, Jurgen Klopp operated as a manager, not as a head coach. And everybody knows the success that Arsenal has had so far under Mikel Arteta. Though he has not won any major trophy, but we know the journey so far for Arsenal. Arsenal has now become title contenders week in, season out. And this season, they're in a very favorable position to win the league. And Chelsea, Manchester United saw this and said, okay, we're going to go this route. I thought I started by signing young players. First of all, the first few years, the first 1 year, tried to get out the players who did not fit into the process. And then, I think 2 years into it, he started signing players and started with young players. Then eventually, they wanted to bring in young and experienced players between 26 and 27 years, which is where you now get your Ben White, your Declan Rice, your Magalhaes was young when he came, 22 or 23. Now he's 25. What's this guy? Merino. Zubimendi, these are now upgrade players who are not getting to their peak or at their peak, but still under 27 and with good quality. And this is where Arsenal is at the moment. Same thing Liverpool did. Klopp stayed and worked with the player that he met on ground. Some players were asked to leave. He got in his philosophy and what he wanted to do, then started identifying players that are experienced and that fit into what he was trying to do. This is where people like Van Dijk came in and other players came in. Now, Chelsea and Manchester United looked at this and they also tried to go that route. So there is no harm in copying, because I believe Arsenal copied Liverpool. Arsenal and Arteta copied Liverpool. So there's no problem with Manchester United and Chelsea copying Arsenal or even Liverpool. But the issue is you don't just copy and paste. You have to edit to suit what you are trying to do. And this is very important in human interaction and leadership. But I think Chelsea went too quick, seeing that Arsenal was signing young players and went that route. So by the time Arsenal project evolved, Chelsea were still stuck with where they were, which is signing young players. Fine, and they didn't just sign young players, because what Arsenal did as well was also sign players who will not cost them that much. So they first of all cleared their wage bill before bringing in the new one, so that their wage bill will not be heavily impacted. But Chelsea has been stubborn on signing just young players. Yes, with quality here and there, but it was more on the financial side. And I think this is where Chelsea made a mistake. They signed Maresca as a head coach and they left him there with no authority. If you want somebody to come in and change a culture or change how things are done and bring you results, he needs some level of power. It might not be autonomous, but he needs some level of power. And this is where being a head coach and being a manager comes in. Because if you are a head coach, you just do what you're asked to do. Your job is to come to the training ground every day. Whoever is available, get the best out of them. And it doesn't work like that in football. Because if you have a philosophy, you have an idea of what you're trying to do, you should also at least have a say in who is brought in and who is let go. At the beginning of this season, after the transfer window closed in the summer, I was very equivocal, and I told Chelsea fans that this your squad is not built to compete and win the title. Chelsea fans said I was biased. I told them, and I've been saying it, that they have good players in that team, but the squad as a whole is not built to compete. And Chelsea are not going to be the title race this season. I said that from the beginning of the season, and people were, calling for my head. And now we can say. So Maresca has got tired of not being allowed to have a say, even in selection of players for a game. And if you are a coach that has some level of respect for yourself, there is no way you're going to accept that situation. And this is where he has gone wrong for Chelsea. And now with this reputation, if they don't adjust it, it's still going to affect the next coach. He's still going to leave. Don't forget that this is the same reason why Pochettino left 2 seasons ago. And it's going to happen to the next coach as well if they don't adjust it. If you want a coach to be successful implement a philosophy, he needs some level of authority, especially in players that will come in and players that will leave. I mean, if you want to sell 5 players, you should give him the chance to say, okay, out of these 5, just leave these 2 for me. Or if you want to bring players, you give him the option and ask him to choose which one he wants. Nobody just shows up in a training ground and all of a sudden the players he was with yesterday has left because the management thought so. The same thing in Manchester United. Amorim has had his issues. I have my problems with him. He's been very stubborn. Though sometimes as a leader, if you have a vision, you have to be stubborn with it and stay with it. But in football as well, sometimes you have to adapt some things to get results, because results are what builds confidence, and confidence now helps you to implement what you're trying to implement. So in that regard, Amorim has had a little issue. But we remember a few days ago, he also went on a rant, just like Maresca, that he did not come here as a head coach. He came here as a manager. And as a manager, he's supposed to have some authority with regards to transfer policies, playing style, and certain things that he needs to implement. Because if he doesn't have that, it's going to be impossible for players to respect him. And now, today, he is fired. The same reason. So this is where Manchester United and Chelsea got it wrong. By removing power or hiring head coaches instead of managers, because the situation they find themselves, especially at Manchester United is worse, or if not exactly where Arsenal was 6-7 years ago. So if you want to change things, they were signing players. Manchester United were spending money. So if you want to change a culture, you need somebody to drive it, and that person has to come with a vision. And if he has to implement that vision, he needs some level of authority. So if somebody is going to come into Manchester United and change how things are done, he needs some level of authority, support, and one-mindedness. This is what Arteta brought to us now. And that's what we are seeing today. You have to take that gamble and trust that person, trust the process. And this is where your hiring process has to be top-notch. You have to be sure what you're going in for. You have to be sure who you're going to sign. And once you get that person, allow him to work. As long as the team doesn't go into relegation, give him some time to work. This is where Manchester United got it wrong. My issue with Amorim was, I used to say it, he was talking too much. He was giving too much details. Sometimes keep your cards to your chest. But he was talking too much in the beginning. That was my issue with him. And I think he adjusted it as time went on. But he got tired of being told what to do as against doing what he thinks is right and that will bring success to his team. So this is where I believe Chelsea and Manchester United got it wrong. Firing a coach is always within the powers of the board. Nobody's going to question that. But the reason for firing a coach sometimes might work against the club you're trying to build. So they need to decide what they want. And that will affect the decision that they will make. So let me know what you think. Do you think this is true? Do you think this is right? Do you think what I'm saying, does it make sense to you? And what do you think Chelsea and Manchester United need to do to correct the situation? And I will see you again next time. Ciao.